Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. In this video, we are looking at the Monday Night Showdown picks between the Ravens and the Raiders. I hope you guys all had a good Sunday. It was a pretty good way to start off the season. For us, it was a very good day on DK, hit in early main afternoon Showdown in at least double ups. About 3 of those hit in tournaments as well, or snuck into some end of some tournaments. Fanduel did good in the Showdown. The early only, the main just hit in some cash games and 50-50s, but overall, pretty good day to close out the day at Cooper Kupp at captain with a Van Jefferson. Andy Dalton was kind of garbage, but went with the Ram stack 5-1. That worked out nicely. So, good way to start off the year. Let's keep it going on the Showdown slate. Keep it, make it 3-0 on Showdowns, and hopefully have another good Sunday next week. So, if you enjoy the videos, please hit the like button and subscribe. Helps me out a lot. If you want to join us, visit the website, dfsprocess.net. Very good day, as you could see from some of the members, so that's what I like to see. People making money. See if we can keep it going tonight. But yeah, let's get into the picks. Twitter's at DFSProcess if you want to stay up to date or check out some results. Today, you have Lamar Jackson at captain anytime, or you have Lamar Jackson in a showdown anytime you have that. He's always a somewhat of a polarizing play at captain. Most people do end up playing him, and I am in that boat most times. Price tag today is 18.6. We'll see how it works looking at some of the other salaries, but I wouldn't mind going Lamar Jackson today. He's very expensive, but that's to be expected just with the crazy upside that he presents. Darren Waller, $16,200 and the captain spot. He's not somebody that I'm looking at too heavily just because he's super expensive. I kind of like going a little bit cheaper, especially like Mark Andrews is only 15.3. I'd probably play him instead. I know Waller is going to be just a target monster on the Raiders this year, but the Ravens good defensively. They'll probably try to at least not have him go crazy nuts, but he does give you a bunch of upside for tournaments. Derek Carr, a guy that's viable at captain, he had some decent showings last year. You know, if they fall behind early, they might just have to resort to the passing game because the Ravens are going to be able to score almost at will against this Raiders defense. So we could see Carr have to throw for over 45, maybe close to 50 times if they do fall behind, especially if they don't have Josh Jacobs, who is questionable with an illness. If he's out, then that would make Kenyon Drake become viable at 10.8 in the captain, or like 70-something in the flex. Marquis Brown, the guy that I do like this year, I think he's going to have a good year. Last year, he was up and down. He was down in the beginning, and then he came on strong late. He had a bunch of single-digit fantasy points. And then after Week 12, he just took off. He had 6 touchdowns after Week 12. All the games he scored at least 10 fantasy points, got a bunch of targets late in the season as well, as it became more of an emphasis for the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. I think that's going to continue this year. And then we have Tyson Williams as the running back 1 for now for the Ravens. They brought in a bunch. They brought in Latavius Murray. They brought in Le'Veon Bell. They brought in Devontae Freeman. But Tyson Williams is going to get the start tonight with Latavius Murray backing him up. Murray still needs to get up to speed, so that's why they said Williams is going to start. And if he impresses, wouldn't be shocked if he handles, the starting workload heading for the entire year. With Murray being right there, definitely play Tyson Williams over Latavius Murray. And then we get into some interesting guys here for the receivers on the Raiders. They no longer have Nelson Aguilar, so Henry Ruggs, a guy that you would expect to have a very good year last year, only 26 grabs, 2 touchdowns, 450 yards. But I would attribute some of that just to being a rookie, and then some of that just to being John Gruden not looking at him very much. But in his second year, I expect him to take a step forward. They no longer have Nelson Aguilar, who basically filled the role that you would expect Ruggs to fill in last year, catching a bunch of deep touchdowns, getting a bunch of targets. So now as a wide receiver 1, I expect Ruggs to take off this year. And at only 75 at captain, 5,000 the flex, he's one of my favorite plays on the Raiders. Edwards is viable as well, starting alongside Ruggs, but I like to get to a cheaper Ruggs instead. And I'd probably even like to go to Renfro at $2,800 in the flex, just as a value play. He's going to get you 5 to 7 targets a game. Most of those are going to be short routes when Waller's kind of covered up. But Renfro at that price tag, a guy that could have a couple of grabs, like 5 grabs, 50 yards or so, and that's good enough at that price tag. So definitely like Renfro more than like Duvernay. I'm not going to play anybody like Devontae Freeman or Snead or anybody like that tonight. And then the kickers, both playable today. Both are very good. Justin Tucker and Carlson, 2 kickers that both coaches are pretty confident with them taking long kicks, 50-plus yarders. So that's going to be pretty big for for these showdowns. Both are very reliable. Tucker had a kind of a only hit 29 of 35 last year. Expect him to bounce right back this year. So that's a quick kind of rundown. Just if I had to narrow down some of the top plays on each team on the Ravens, it's going to be Lamar Jackson. No surprise there. Lamar Jackson, Marquis Brown, Mark Andrews, Tyson Williams. The top four I really like, and then getting to like Justin Tucker as a cheap end, just as a cheap kicker. That gives you a bunch of upside. And then on the Raiders, for me, it's Derek Carr, who I like. And then I like both of the receivers, Henry Ruggs and Renfro, just because they're very viable. And then the kicker, Carlson. Those are some of the plays I'm looking at. I expect the Ravens to be able to win this game, but I think it's going to be somewhat competitive. Raiders at home, I think, will at least make it interesting at the end. So looking at some potential builds today, if you go Lamar Jackson at captain, you're left with about 62.80 left. So looking to some of the guys that we can look to, I definitely want to get a Henry Ruggs on the Raiders. He's 5,000. We can plug in a cheap Renfro to free up some more salary. We're up to 70, almost 79 now. Plug in Marquis Brown, maybe plug in Tyson Williams, and then we can plug in Mark Andrews. So you're getting a full-on Raven stack. I think this might be somewhat of an approach a lot of people go with. You get 2 out of the top 3 receivers on the Raiders to at least run it back with, and then you get a full-on Raven stack, top 2 options for Lamar Jackson, as well as Tyson Williams, a starting running back. So if you expect the Ravens to be able to put up points, this is something that kind of an approach you could do. If you wanted to go to a kicker, plug in Justin Tucker here. You're left with 3,000. You can upgrade from Renfro to Edwards if you wanted to do that. So both kind of similar. I might like the other one better just because I get a running back and still get a wide receiver instead of going with a kicker and a wide receiver. But definitely Lamar Jackson is easily playable at captain if you run something like that. If you wanted to go with a different route and go with a cheap captain and plug in Henry Ruggs, you're going to be able to get to both of the quarterbacks. You're going to be able to get to Marquis Brown if you wanted to. You could get to even like Carlson as a kicker and then go with Mark Andrews. So this is basically a 3-3 approach. Ruggs, pair him with his weapon, and then you get a kicker at least. And then you got Lamar Jackson paired with his top 2 weapons. You don't get the running back in here, but it's not that big of a deal. If you wanted to, you could plug in Tyson Williams and then upgrade here to Bryan Edwards. So I could do something like that if you wanted to get to the running back instead. But I do like Mark Andrews' price tag on Draftkings, especially on Fanduel. He's a great play. So I don't mind doing something like this. If you will, you could even go with Renfro, get your wide receiver in there, and then I do like Carr more than Waller, but you could try to force him in, and then maybe downgrade at, well, you're going to be able to have to downgrade at your tight end. But to just go back to, let's do one with Marquis Brown at captain, just because I think he can also have a very good game, and he's not that expensive. Marquis Brown, do that, pair Carr without maybe Ruggs, 5,000. You have 57 left. You could play Tyson Williams, and then you could play Justin Tucker and eat $600 in salary. So definitely another approach. But I think one of my 2 favorites are the one with Lamar Jackson at captain, just because you're able to pair him with a bunch of weapons with Mark Andrews and Marquis Brown. And then you even get to the Raiders side. You get to a couple of their weapons that might be able to find their way into the end zone with Ruggs, who's just underpriced, and Renfro. Then you have 7K to plug in the kicker. Or it would be the one with Ruggs at captain, just because he allows you to pay up for both of the quarterbacks, and then you're able to even get to like a tight end, expensive tight end, and Mark Andrews, and you're still able to get to, if not Waller, should be Lamar Jackson. Able to do that, and then you're still even get a kicker in there if they do kick some field goals instead of being able to punch it in. So if maybe Ruggs gets a touchdown and then they get a bunch of kicks, that's an approach for this one to do very well. But for me, definitely going to be having Lamar Jackson, Ruggs, just because he's super affordable, and then I'm kind of high on Marquis Brown today. Those would be the top 3 on DK. Let's jump over to Fanduel. Over on Fanduel today, these would be the top 3 just based on the pricing. Lamar Jackson, Bryan Edwards, and Mark Andrews. If you look at the MVP spots, Lamar Jackson is 17,000, but on Fanduel you're not paying extra, so definitely I will be plugging in Lamar Jackson like MVP. Seems to be the most likely guy to lead the slate in fantasy scores. Waller is playable. He's 13,000. But Mark Andrews only 11K. He's just super underpriced. He's cheaper than Tyson Williams, so I would do Mark Andrews over Tyson Williams. Marquis Brown is right there at 10K, but 1,000 more for Mark Andrews. I think I would lean to that. And then on Fanduel, you have Ruggs is 95, Edwards is 7K. Different story on DraftKings. So Fanduel, I'd take the $2,500 cheaper wide receiver, a guy that might be able to find his way into the end zone if you throw him a fade or something like that inside the red zone. A big body wide receiver. And that's basically it. So that's the quick little rundown for the Monday night slate. I didn't recap the main slate on DraftKings, so this is what I ended up with just to show you guys. 137.36. It was a interesting Sunday because the Falcons just didn't show up. If they showed up, this lineup would have probably pushed like 160, 170 at least. And Marquez Callaway, 5 touchdown passes from Winston, 5 touchdown throws from Winston, 0 going to Callaway. He had his first catch on the first drive and then did nothing. So that was a big disappointment. But he was chalk for a reason. Just didn't work out. But overall, pretty good Sunday. I'm not going to be disappointed. Hopefully tonight goes just as well. So thanks for watching. Best of luck tonight, and I'll see you all next time.